Right guys, welcome to another Star Wars review, and today I've got issue number 2 of the Star Wars comics. And yeah, this one's going to be more of a quick one because there wasn't a lot to talk about in this issue. There wasn't as much exciting stuff happening in this one as the first issue, but it was still pretty interesting. In fact, this issue I like to call the Lando issue because it really focuses on him as a character more than anything else. So it opens up and we've still got Lando arguing with everyone else, Leia especially, and we get to see really more of like his predicament in the situation that he's in compared to all the other characters. Because you have to remember, Luke, Leia, Chewie, etc. They're all rebels. They're all members of the Rebel Alliance and have been for a long time. Lando, on the other hand, as you know, Lando was the administrator of a city in Bespin, Cloud City. He was living pretty luxurious life and stuff. And now he doesn't. Now he's working with a bunch of rebels that he doesn't even get on with that well. So he's in a pretty shit position. He's in a shit state at the moment. It's interesting to see him deal with that, and he tries to make the best of the situation. He's going about travelling and stuff. He's in the Millennium Falcon, so I suppose you could say at least he has his ship still again, and he's with Chewbacca. And it's great to see Chewbacca is still pissed at him for what he did to Han, even though he's explained it numerous times at this point. But he's still quite hostile towards him because he needs to earn his trust back and stuff. And that's one thing I'm really looking forward to seeing. I think I mentioned it in the last issue, is that I'm really looking forward to seeing how Lando becomes, the character that he is in Episode 6, and how he really gains the trust of all these other characters, and how he's going to bond with them over the course of these however many issues we have, because they really don't trust him at this time, and that is interesting to see how they're going to deal with that over time. We also get to see a bit of what Leia's doing as well. She's talking with all the other rebels and stuff. We see some of these rebels who we saw in the last issue involved in the battle and stuff. Here they are sort of debating over what they're going to do next, what the next plan is going to be, and how they're going to recover everyone. And there seems to be a big problem because they can't really communicate with a lot of the other rebel cells, so they're really just on their own at the moment. That shows you just how bad things got after the Battle of Hoth. So that even now, after so much going on, they're still basically running from the Empire and on their own, and things need to go their way again, in other words. And it's great to see, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how they take the rebels as a whole forward, and to where they were in Episode 6, to where they could finally take on the Empire again, because at the moment they just aren't. It's as simple as that. They need to focus on smaller things at the moment than just defeating the Empire. We also get to see a bit of Luke as well in this issue. He's not really in it much, although we do see him at one point. He mentions how he still needs to get a new hand. I think Leia was the one that mentioned to him that we should get a robotic one, and that obviously ties into the ending of Empire. So this opening first few pages still takes place, in between the battle or the duel between Luke and Vader and the actual ending of Empire still. And then of course it cuts ahead and we see Lando and Chewie travelling about. We see these guys arrive and it's quite funny because they mistake Lando for Han Solo, because the Millennium Falcon is known as Han Solo's ship. Lando gets a bit annoyed by this because it's his ship originally, and he even says to the guys that, look, this is Lando Calrissian here, the administrator of Bespin. This is my ship. Han Solo stole it from me, and I'm back, in control of it now, and I want to see Jabba the Hutt. And we actually get to see him go and meet Jabba the Hutt, and it's actually a really cool scene. But the sad thing, or the bad thing for Lando, of course, is that Jabba isn't an idiot, and he knows that he's fucked, and that he doesn't have Cloud City anymore. And he specifically says to him, why should I not just throw you to my Rancor and whatever else? And Lando sort of plays to his own strengths here and sort of makes a deal with Lando. He gets really sly and starts, double crossing the rebels a little bit. We can really see that he's not really committed to the rebellion cause yet or whatever. Or maybe he's just, trying to play both sides. We don't know. But at the end of the day, at this moment in time, he's still looking out for himself first and foremost, which is interesting to see. And so Jabba, upon learning this, gives him a bit of leeway and says, fine, we'll give you another chance, we'll see what you can do, it'd be useful to me and stuff. And Lando goes off, and they touch upon Boba Fett at one point, which, this was a bit weird, this bit, because they explained that Boba Fett has Han Solo, which we know from the movie, but he doesn't directly go to Jabba the Hutt, which, okay, fair enough, there was a decent amount of time between Empire and Return of the Jedi in which we do see him finally arrive. or we see Han at Jabba's palace. We don't, he probably didn't arrive there immediately after the events of Empire, but surely Boba Fett would have taken him to Jabba the Hutt first. I don't think he would have, flew about the place, auctioning him off to different bidders. He probably would have went to the one guy, one of the biggest gangsters in the universe, who, Han owed a lot of money to. You go to that one guy before you go to anyone else, but it seems not. It seems like he's doing other things in this comic. So Jabba obviously wants to get Han Solo somehow, or his carbonated body, and Lando says that he can do that for him. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But of course we do know that eventually he's going to end up at Jabba's palace anyway. But we'll see how that comes about. But it is really interesting to see the evolution of Lando's character here. Like I said, I think this was mainly his book, and we get to see more of his character spread out. And I do actually like what Charles Soule's doing with him. And it will be interesting, like I said, if there are any big conflicts come about, because he is at the moment trying to play both sides of, he's allied with the rebels, but he's also sort of backstabbing them and allying with Jabba as well. And probably at some point that's going to come back to haunt him, and something's going to happen and whatever else. But it'll still be interesting to see that coming about. Like I said, just slowly building up stuff. We do get a really interesting scene at the end though, and this was a bit annoying because it goes into something that I'm not too fond of. Is that we see Luke and Lando talking at the end, which I actually like. I like seeing them bond and stuff, and I want to see how their relationship evolves throughout these comics. But then Lando starts talking about Luke's lightsaber, and he suggests that they actually go back to Cloud City to get it. And that really annoyed me because it just reminded me of everything in the sequel movies with Luke's lightsaber, which, look, regardless of everything else in those movies, there's one thing I'll say right here. Luke's lightsaber, or Anakin's lightsaber really, that Luke had in episodes 4 and 5, should never have been in the sequel trilogy at all. It should never have came back. Once it fell down the shaft in Cloud City, it should have been gone forever, never to return, ever, even in a comic book. But here we are, going back, bringing back these things, and this really feels like a plotline that was forced into the comics because they had to explain something from the movies. Do you remember that infamous scene from The Force Awakens where Maz Kanata, Rey says to her, "Where's the lightsaber from?" and she goes, "It's a story for another time." Well, I don't want that story now in a fucking comic book 5 years later. It should have been in the damn movie. And even then, it shouldn't have even been in the movie. If it was going to be any lightsaber, it should have been Luke's lightsaber from episode 6. Just being honest, but rant over with. So that's probably what's going to happen in the next issue. We're going to see them go back to Cloud City. But like I said, I don't like trying to explain stuff from the movies in the comic books. I think it's a bad practice. Don't think it should be done at all. I just want the comics to be their own thing and focus on stories that Charles Soule wants to do, not on stories which the story group want to do, or that J.J. Abrams forgot to tell in his movies. I want the comics to be their own thing and to focus on their own stories, because they are building up interesting stories here. Like, I'm really interested to see what happens with Lando going forward. I'm really interested to see what happens with Leia and Luke and the rest of the rebellion going forward. I'm really interested to see maybe Darth Vader pop up from time to time. I don't want to see any crap related to the sequel movies in any sense, or in any way, because it's just doesn't belong here. It's as simple as that. But other than that, I did actually enjoy this issue. It was, like I said, it was a bit slow, not a lot happened. It's really setting stuff up. Really, it's built for the trade more than anything, which, a bit annoying, but like I said, I'm still interested to see where they go with this. And I will be reading the next issue and probably doing a review on that, so look forward to that when it comes out. So yeah, until then, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.